Alright, let's get started on the revolve practice. We're going to create this little rubber handle, and what we're trying to do is get this cross section. It's kind of like a sideways L. You can see it better here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to draw this. I guess this is the bottom, but you can see the similarity between this L and this cross section. So, given the dimensions of this picture, we want to draw something similar to this. So in Autodesk, that looks like this. What I recommend you do is not dimension the shape as you draw it. Also in this case, I don't even recommend drawing rectangles. I just recommend you draw straight lines. So what we'll do is, using the straight line command, we will draw the L shape, but there's a few key points as we draw it. So starting our new sketch on the XY plane, the first thing we're actually going to do is draw a line from the XY origin just out a little ways. Doesn't need to be anything special. What that is, that's going to be our rotation axis. Okay, this says construction line representing axis of rotation. It doesn't have to be a construction line. I'm just using a plain line. So from there, this L shape, like I said, we're using line command, and we are going to make sure that we offset our L. We don't start the L right on that construction line or axis of rotation. So we're going to come up here and draw. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Draw this L shape. It comes out. Make sure that's horizontal. Make sure that's vertical. And we'll come back here. Okay, so we have the L shape. Now we get to size this and dimension it. Let's see. So for starters, we know that the thickness right here. See, these empty boxes, part of the activity used to be I printed this out and everyone filled out these boxes by finding the dimensions. But we don't fill those out. You still need to know the numbers. But what we're going to do is just fill them out in our head and then apply it to Autodesk. So the first thing I'm going to do is specify the thickness here. That thickness comes from right here, this dimension, 0.25. So dimension command, and specify this as 0.25. Okay. We also know the length of this thing from the very leftmost edge of our piece, 4.469. We'll dimension that next. Okay. While we're at it with the horizontal dimensioning, we can dimension this. This, I think, is 0.156. Okay, right, there it is, 0.156. That's just the thickness. So we now know the overall length and we know the thickness of this piece. So we're good with horizontal dimensions. As far as vertical dimensions, we have two left. We need to know the distance of this gap right here, and we need to know the distance from this center axis out to here. So if I were to go and dimension this, that dimension value is found, well, if we look at this dimension here, it says diameter is 0.1875. Diameter is going to give us from the center axis out to this edge and then out to the top half of this, which we don't see. So again, the 0.1875 is twice the size we need, because that's going to be from the top of the circle to the bottom. We just want from the center of the circle to the bottom. So I don't know off the top of my head what that value is, but I can have Autodesk type that in, divided by 2. I can have Autodesk do that for me. Simple math functions can be done right on Autodesk. So if I type in the number divided by 2, hit enter, it'll find that it's 0.094, and I believe that's actually a rounding, but that is the value we need. So we only have one dimension left. That is from our center axis out. I'll just put it over here. Again, we don't know what that is until we look, and we see that, again, we have a diameter. Diameter is from the top of the rubber handle to the bottom of the rubber handle. We can't use that directly because that's from top to bottom. We're looking at half of this thing. We're looking at from center line to the bottom. So what we need to do is take the number divided by 2 again and let Autodesk do that. 1.375 divided by 2. Hit enter. And we've sized this thing entirely. We have this gap specified. We have the thickness of this portion of the handle, plus we have the overall width. We had our side-to-side width dimension, 156 and 4.469. We're good to go. We can finish our sketch. We can revolve. Select that. So when you use revolve, if you haven't done it yet, when you revolve, sometimes this is already highlighted. If it's not, it's asking for the profile first. See how that's highlighted? It's got that blue background. It's asking for the profile. So I'm going to select it. From there, I need to come over here, tell it that I'm going to specify my axis next. Once that is highlighted blue, now it's looking for my axis. The axis, again, that's just that line that we drew at the beginning. Once we select it, we've got our preview. The extent is full. We want full because we want a full 360. We can hit OK, and we have our rubber handle. Now the thing to be careful of is we cannot forget to fillet it. Some people are forgetting to fillet these edges. So again, you can do both of them at the same time. If I click one end and the other, then specify my 0.25 radius, I have my rubber handle. Just so you know, that came from right here, R.25 TYP. We haven't talked about that. That means typical. So radius of 0.25 typical is saying that both this end and this end you can see is filleted. They're skipping copying, pasting that dimension by saying TYP. So we have our handle, we filleted it, looks good. We can save that and move on to our next part.